Hello there, welcome back to Mobile FM. Here is a tale of Akunna, the shrine whistler, and the blind princess. Akunna was a very young and happy boy who grew up with his parents who were peasant farmers in a community that is called Umu Okpara in Umuahia local government area of Abia State in the southeastern part of Nigeria in Africa. Now, Akunna was very happy being with the parents. Everything they knew was farming. Like I said earlier, they were peasant farmers. They cultivate their crop and, harvest just for eating and, make very little sales. And during farming season, Akunna's father was known to hire men who helped in cultivating his farm. Even though he was a peasant farmer, he had a lot of harvest. Each farming year, he comes home with a lot of harvest. He was really admired by, other members of the farming community. Akunna's father was a very great man. He loved his people. He was always there for his people. He was always there for the community members. He was always trying to contribute to better the community. On one occasion, there was a community crisis that made his family to run off the community they have always known. They were born in that community. They cultivated their farm in the community where they were able to produce food for themselves. They were living happily. The community was living happily until this crisis happened. And now, because this crisis happened, Akunna's family was forced out of their community into a strange land where they had to settle and start all over again. In that community, at first, things were very okay with them because the father was able to buy some land to continue cultivating so that he would never lack food for himself and his family, because the man was really great, family-oriented man, and he loved his family so much. And the only family he had was Akunna and Akunna's mother, and they had a beautiful life together. But shortly after they managed to settle in the new community, Akunna's father became really, really ill. The mother spent all the money they had trying to get help for Akunna's father, to no avail. Everything went down the drain. The little money they had returned with from their village went down the drain. Things started going really, really bad for them. The mother didn't know what to do. They had to take the father to a medicine man, a village medicine man, who started trying to cure Akunna's father. Things went from bad to worse and kept going that way until a day where Akunna could not take it again. Akunna ran to the village shrine where he started whistling to the gods and begging the gods to keep his father alive, stating that he would never be able to live without his father, begging the gods. And he made a promise to the gods that if they rescue the father, if the father is fully, resuscitated and everything becomes okay again, he would dedicate his time to sing songs for the gods, because he knew how to whistle very well. With or without instrument, he was able to whistle very well. And he kept going to the shrine to sing to the gods. Every time the gods heard his voice, they felt really good because it was coming from a clean heart. It was coming with a sincerity of purpose, and the gods were with Akunna. Everywhere Akunna went, he became the favorite of the gods. They wanted the best for him. They wanted to see him grow with his father. They wanted the very best for Akunna. And Akunna would never leave the gods alone. As he kept growing, he was always at the shrine, praising the gods, thanking them for keeping his father alive, because after that period, Akunna's father became better. Things became much better for them. Akunna was very grateful that, of course, he kept going back to the gods. One night, Akunna was sleeping When he slept, he had a dream. In his dream, he had met with a very old woman who was overloaded. The woman was carrying a very, very heavy bag of whatever Akuna does not know about on top of her head. And Akuna felt bad for this old woman. Akuna offered to help the woman. Ma, what are you carrying on your head? This must be really heavy for you. Will you allow me help you? Yes, the old woman said, you are such a young boy, you will not be able to carry this. And Akuna said, no, ma'am, I can help you carry it. And the woman was so impressed and said to Akuna that you are a good boy. You were raised well, and the gods are in favor of you. They want the best for you, and gave Akuna a treasure that turned out to be so much money. This money came in hard currency. And when Akuna woke up from the dream, behold, the bag was by Akuna's head. And Akuna showed the bag to the father. The father said it was a blessing from the gods. They now called a seer in the village who saw what happened and also stated that it was a blessing from the gods, that Akuna had honored the gods for a very long time. And the gods, in return, wants to favor Akuna. That the gods wanted Akuna to leave the village to a city. Now, Akuna was led to a city where he started a small business with part of the money that the gods blessed him with. And he kept doing his business. He became really, really successful. Of course, the God had already blessed him. Akuna found favor in the eyes of the gods because he was always going to sing songs for the gods. And then in the city, Akuna met a young lady, Oyinye. Oyinye was very beautiful. Light-skinned Oyinye was so beautiful. Akuna loved her so much. They fell in love with each other. They made a lot of, promise to each other. And then their relationship kept going well. They were very, very happy together. On one day, Oyinye met a rich man in that city. Oyinye fell head over heels in love with the rich man because the rich man had so much money. One thing Akuna could not boast of. But before this time, Akuna had made lots of sacrifices for Oyinye. Akuna made sure Oyinye had everything that she would ever want. Akuna proposed to Oyinye, and Oyinye said yes to that proposal. Akuna used out of his little funds, rented a house for Oyinye. It was because of Akuna that Oyinye was even in school. But on this day, because Oyinye didn't know what to say to people, Oyinye lied against Akuna that Akuna had been physical with her. Now, Oyinye's rich boyfriend arrested Akunna, and Akunna was so mistreated, not knowing that everything Oyinye had said to her rich boyfriend was a lie. That was because Akunna kept going back to beg her not to leave him, that his heart would be too broken if Oyinye left him, that he would not know what to do. And because Akunna was very persistent, Oyinye thought Akunna was disturbing her. Oyinye wanted Akunna to get out of her life forever so she can focus on her rich boyfriend. At some point, Akunna left Oyinye. Oyinye got engaged to her rich boyfriend, and she was very happy. She was on top of the world. Everything was going on well with her. She celebrated with friends. Everybody celebrated with her, and some of her friends were telling her, please, it is a good thing that you allowed Akunna to go. Akunna is a poor boy. He doesn't have anything and all of that. Akunna was so heartbroken that he cried so much. He cried so much, such that his friend, who was a lady, was there for him, begging him and explaining to him that things will get better, that his life doesn't have to end with Onyinyechi. Akuna went on and on, feeling really, really sad and devastated. It went on and on. He depreciated. He was so heartbroken that he felt as though his whole entire world had come to an end. Then he was trying to get back on his foot when he was going out one day. He met with a young blind girl who was stuck in a car trying to come out. From what she said that she was trying to come out of her car. She mistakenly hurt her eyes. And before then, she said she couldn't see well. She was actually going to see a doctor where she hurt her eyes. And Akuna had to help the blind girl. From that instance, Akuna became attracted to the blind girl such that he was always there for the blind girl. He would take the girl out and try to help the girl as much as possible. The girl had told Akunna that she was all alone in this world. She was an orphan. She didn't have anyone to help her. She was managing. Akunna asked her, "How have you been managing? The fact that you can't even see well, how do you go around?" The girl said, I just manage. On one occasion, Akuna had gone to get some day job, where, of course, you know what happens when people work daily, they get daily pay. And he was able to make a little more than he would normally make. And he decided to come back to the village to carry Adadora, the blind girl, to the hospital. He took Adadora to the hospital because he wanted a medical doctor to look at Adadora's wounds and also tell them if there is anything that could be done to Adadora's eyes so she can see better. Akuna didn't have the money, but he had the courage. He wanted to help the blind girl. He felt like the blind girl was helpless and the blind girl might be vulnerable to a lot of people. And the girl was so beautiful and very, very meek. And of course, that helplessness that he saw in the girl was one thing that endeared him to the girl. He wanted to be there for the girl. He wanted to show the girl that, she could still be loved. With everything Akuna did, Akuna never knew that this girl was never really blind. The girl was a princess from another village who had gone through several heartbreaks in her life and decided that she is not going to take a husband from her village anymore, that she's never going to let anybody know that she is a princess, that she would go out and pretend to be a blind girl and see if a man will fall in love with her. Unfortunately for her, she came out and found a man who fell in love with her even as a poor blind girl. Now, on one occasion, Akuna took the blind girl, Adadora, to the hospital. Adadora called the father. And the father met Akuna and Adadora in the hospital. And the father said to Adadora, "You got what you had always wanted. Akuna is a great guy." And that was when they revealed everything to Akunna. That indeed, you are the son-in-law I've always wanted. The real man for my daughter. I'm going to bless you with anything you will ever want in this life, because all I want is for you to be peaceful and take care of my daughter. Now, Akunna was introduced to this entire family, and they went ahead. Akunna and Adadora went ahead to get blessing from their father, and eventually they went ahead and they got married. Akunna was so happy with his family. Then Oyinye, who had left Akunna for the rich guy, started having series of problems with the rich guy. Oyinye was always fighting with the rich guy. Oyinye had discovered that the guy was not even as rich as he had claimed to be, and managed to go ahead with the wedding. But on the wedding day, the guy abandoned Oyinye in the altar. Onyechi ran back to her parents crying and asking them if there is anything she could do to go back to Akunna. At the point, the parents did not know that Akunna had even gotten married, that Akunna made some fortune, and Onyechi went to meet with Akunna. It was when Oyinye met with Akunna and saw that Akunna has become so wealthy in a way that nobody could have ever imagined. Oyinyechi's heart was broken into so many pieces. Oyinyechi could not hold herself. Oyinyechi was so teary and she felt so bad that she left Akunna. And then Akunna tried to pacify her, telling her that everything is fine, that if she had not gone, perhaps he wouldn't have been this rich. Oyinyechi begged Akunna with all her might, please forgive me. I still love you. I made a very big mistake. I shouldn't have done what I did to you. I was carried away by money. Right now, I know that all that glitter is not gold. God is for everyone. And Akunna said, I would never have anything to do with you. My journey with you is over and done with. I will never ever be able to be with you. Oyinyechi was left all alone without a spouse, no Akunna, no rich guy, and nothing. And when she came back to her poor hut, she was very, very devastated because she realized that she made one of the worst mistakes of her life. Now, this story has got a lesson. All that glitter is not gold. It's important to always know that God is for everyone. A person may not have today, but tomorrow might be the person's turn. You must never ever forget that all that glitter is not gold. Things might just turn around for anybody in this world. What you see today might not be what you see tomorrow. Don't ever get motivated by greed. This is a lesson, and I hope that you enjoyed our story.